Hello, this is Brendan Wilmington of the Left Turn Network, and welcome back to another Lumen Stock Car Invitational race. This is season number 3, race number 13 at the old North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. That's a lot of Norths in there. This is the third year in a row that we've gone here. We ran here in season 1 and season 2, and this is a 5/8 of a mile oval. Very, very interesting racetrack for sure. I am joined by Ludovic Charette for the second time
Hi.
this season. And Ludovic, tell us your experience with this racetrack in North Wilkesboro and what we expect to see here.
My experience with this racetrack, I've done a couple of races on them. I've raced a couple of races there, so it's usually a slight chaos, but it's mostly regular short track racing. So I don't know exactly how it's gonna go with your I, but usually it's run of the mill, super well. Short track. So yeah.
We're going to be seeing 2 pit stops in this race. This will be a 112 lap race, just like it was last year. The year before it was 80 laps. So yeah, definitely one of the longer races lap wise. And it does take a slight bit longer in terms of time as well, but not that much longer. We're talking about like 50 minutes compared to 40 minutes. So yeah,
Ooh.
on the pole today is the 5 car of Joanna Clark, who also started on pole here in this event last year in what I believe was her first ever start in the Cup Series. So something about Joanna and this racetrack makes for a really good combo here at North Wilkesboro. And starting alongside the 5, oh, that's the wrong button. Starting alongside the 5 is the 36 car of Ashley Blake. Row number 2 is the 66 of Tyler Landry, alongside the 16, his teammate, of Corbin Taps. Then it's row 3, Laurie Jackson in the number 7 car, and the 1 of Jacob Lopez. Row number 4 is the 98 of Kevin DuPont and the 3 car of Montana Sherman. Row 5 rather, this is Ryan Silva driving the number 52 this week. Of course, you remember Ryan Silva in the 58 car earlier in the year. He ended up leaving the 58 car. Cheryl Simmons now drives that car, but Silva's back. He won this race last year, so he probably wanted to defend his crown. And Blake Everett Motorsports were more than happy to put him in this number 52 car. I'd imagine this might have been a race that Cheryl Simmons might have been initially scheduled for, but now they've got Silva in the car, and we'll see what he can do in that 52 car. Alongside him is the 8 car of Darren Walker, second place in points. This is the first time in a bit that he has not been leading the points, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see him and Tim Berry, who is the actual points leader, go at it as they start right near each other, 10th and 11th. And a good run in qualifying for the McPickey Motorsports cars, as their lowest starting car is the 6 of Holly Martin, and she's still starting in 12th. So those McPickey cars look very fast today. We'll definitely watch out for them. Row number 7 is the 70 car of Andrew Kreider and the 81 of Latanya Gray. Then it's Lakin Herndon in the 39 in the wrong paint scheme. Whoopsies. And the 55 of Michael Harvin. I guess I made the roster assuming this would be a night race, but we ended up using the day version instead. Not a big deal. It's fine. Karina Willis-Callaway in the 41 car alongside the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck. Then it's the 01 of George Bryan and the 29 of JB Chanot. Vinny Scholes in the number 62. Don't get that confused for the 32. The 32 is not in this race. Alongside the 08 of Billy Smith. This is the first race he's run since his big win in the Lumen 500. Definitely look out for the 08 of Billy Smith. Starting right behind him is the 88 of Joe Smith, his father, and the 24 of Cooper Spur. And here we have a couple of Walker Brothers racing cars, Charlie McCarron in the 85, and the story of the week is Jamison Walker, Darren Walker's younger brother. You guys on YouTube are definitely unfamiliar with him. He only ran in season 1, but in the off season between season 1 and season 2, he got into a highway accident and was unable to race for season number 2. He has been on the road to recovery since, and he's finally back in a car. He impressed in bump practice, had a top 5 time, and it's great to see Jamison Walker back on the racetrack for the first time in a year and a half. And it's going to be hard to miss him with this bright flex car paint scheme. But yeah, definitely a driver we're going to be keeping a lot of eyes on for this race. We'll see if Jamison Walker still has it in him. Rebecca Raymond in the 45 alongside the 57 of Shauna Everett behind them. Then it's the 77 of GT Boyd, the 92 of Kate Summers, last week's winner in convincing fashion. She's going to start from the back, though, in this race. So definitely not going to be able to run away with it like last time. Adrian Wheeler in the 28 alongside the 18 of Zach Dearman. This is the car that won last year when Ryan Silva was driving it. Dearman won at South Boston, another short track. So this 18 has proven to be pretty good on these kinds of racetracks. We'll see if he can climb his way through the field. Rough go of it in qualifying for Diamond Motorsports. Jack Gino in the 65 starts in the second to last row alongside Akia Tajima, and Cheryl Simmons will start on the back row in the number 58. She will bring up the rear in this race. So like I mentioned before, a two-stopper here at North Wilkesboro, 112 laps, and there's not as much tire fall off as you'd expect from this track, but there definitely is tire fall off. So we will see some tire strategy happening in this race as well. That'll be something to look out for as we get later into the run if we get a long green flag run.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the field will roll off on the back straightaway. Make sure that everybody is going to get off clean, and it looks like they will. Ladovic, who do you think is going to win here at North Wilkesboro?
I think it's going to be Ashley Briggs. She starts outside pole. Outside's not the ideal line, but she had a good time in quali, and this is a long race, so she can definitely come back. Also, she starts at the front, so if there's some chaos happening at the back, she won't be involved in it. So yeah, I think Ashley Briggs will win this.
Ashley Blake's had a difficult season. A win could definitely start to turn it around for her. The green flag is waving, and we are underway here at North Wilkesboro. Rounding turn number 4, Joanna Clark will lead the first lap.
3 wide at the back.
And you definitely see some 3 wide action early in the race. We have Tim Berry, Darren Walker, Kevin DuPont. All 3 of them are top 10 in points. If they tangle, that could be big. But it looks like they're going to sort it out for the most part. And you see that outside line definitely not working a lot like last week at Dover. You definitely don't want to get stuck up there. You see Charlie McCarron stuck 3 wide way back in the field. But she's actually going to clear the 57 and at least get out of the 3 wide scenario. And now they're going 3 wide for last. You definitely don't want to be wrecking for last here. Definitely be careful there. Tyler Landry on the back bumper of Joanna Clark, trying to look for a way around her, and he's going to peek to the inside going into turn number 1, but he's not close enough to make a move on the 5 car just yet. Lopez back in 3rd. Corbin taps 4th. Ashley Blake settles down into 5th. And front end damage on the 6 car, or the 7 car rather, of Lori Jackson. You see the front end buckled in a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see if
might
that
have gotten it away.
See if that ends up affecting here as the race goes on. Ryan Silva in the 52. Started 9th, currently running 7th, gained a couple spots off the start. Again, that's another one of those drivers we'll have to keep an eye on in this race because we know he's good here because he won here last year.
And the outside lane just completely collapsed. It's worse than in most places. That is... Well, you know, Ashley Brake was able to stop her downfall to 5th. But otherwise, the outside lane, yeah, everybody's just way back in the field. So,
oh boy, that's a tight situation right there. Joe Smith tried to get underneath JB Chanot for a 3 wide. Jamison Walker right behind this in the 86. He's made his way up into the top 20. So good start there for the 86 car. There's definitely some chaos happening around him as Joe Smith sends it in on the 29. And this time he'll successfully get underneath JB Chanot, and we'll see if he takes that spot away from her. That's another thing. This can turn into Send Central here. It looked like he muscled the 11 car out of the way as well. They can definitely send it in the corner, and that can cause some accidents sometimes. So that's a thing we'll have to look out for in this race while they're battling each other. Andrew Kreider underneath Ryan Silva. That's for the 7th position. 70 trying to move up through the field. It has definitely not been an ideal season for Andrew Kreider after his top 5 points run last year. It hasn't been outright awful, especially compared to the start of the season for him, but he's definitely looking for some better runs in that 70 car.
And at this point, the entirety of the top 6 is in a single line. But they're starting to bunch up a bit. Oh, and the 7 almost turned the 36, a low speed turning, but that won't happen. And he'll go to the inside. Easy overtake.
Laurie Jackson, she's trying to get underneath Ashley Blake. That is a Blake Everett Motorsports versus Checkered Flag Racing battle. We haven't gotten too many of those. You know, they're bitter rivals. And we've gone over the whole story of that several times at this point. Landry tried to take a swipe at Joanna Clark the last lap. Joanna Clark's going to go up the racetrack. Here comes Landry on the inside. We were going to get a pass for the lead potentially. Landry at the stripe actually did lead that lap by 7/1000ths of a second. And moved the 66 car into first. Clark is fighting back on the outside, though. She's not going to give up easy. But Landry should be able to get this spot using that inside lane into turns 3 and 4. And we have our first lead change of the race.
And look at that. Jacob Lopez went behind.
Joanna Clark.
Right behind. And he'll not go down the inside now. But he's definitely faster than the 5 at the moment.
We're definitely peeking down to the inside in those corners. Doesn't quite get the nose down there, though. But 3 cars under a blanket here for the lead. Good acceleration off the corner for Clark. Might try a crossover move here into turn 3. Not able to do it. She looked high. I don't think that was the right thing to do there. But, you know, she's still right behind the leader. She'll have time to try and get it back. Kreider gains another spot. This time goes past the 7 car of Laurie Jackson, Kevin DuPont, and Karina Willis-Callaway once again showing up in the top 10. She's been a consistent top 10 car all throughout the season. Oh, she's going to turn the 52 of Ryan Silva. They're both going to get into the wall. They're going to keep it straight so there's no caution. Nope, Silva's still up into the outside wall. And that was costly for last year's winner, Ryan Silva. Karina Willis-Callaway getting a little too aggressive there in turns 3, puts them both into the wall, and that is also going to negatively impact the 41. She was in 10th. She's going to move down to 12th, but obviously that took a lot more damage on the 52 of Ryan Silva. That was an interesting maneuver, that's for sure.
Look at the gap at the front. 2nd and 3rd, already a second back. Then there is already 2 seconds separating 4th and 5th. Well, the 1st and 5th. But yes, these gaps are starting to create themselves, and yeah, at this point, it's starting to seem like people outside of maybe the top 4, the top 6. It's going to be very, very hard to come back to that front lead, at least until the pit stops.
It's a long race. You never know what can happen here. As we see Corbin Taps making a pass on Jacob Lopez for 3rd. And that will move Corbin Taps up into the podium. And the top 4, like you said, have broken away from 5th place Ashley Blake and 6th place Andrew Kreider. And we see most of the field going single file at this point. We have a few battles towards the end of the field, but it is mostly single file, but that doesn't mean you can't make a move on guys, as you just saw Corbin Taps do, and as you're seeing Montana Sherman do right here on the 79 of Kobe Hollenbeck. I believe this is for the 13th position, and Jameson Walker up in 15th. Not a bad run for sure for that 86 car, especially for this being his first race in a year and a half, and it looks like he's going to try and go for 14th on Kobe Hollenbeck. He's never raced Kobe Hollenbeck before. Hollenbeck didn't join until season 2, so there's a lot of new faces for him that he has not had any experience racing around, and that's a very interesting dynamic there that we kind of saw with Trevor Stewart in the Lumen 500, but that was a bit of a different circumstances. That was a plate race, but you definitely get the feel of how these drivers race on a track like North Wilkesboro. So very unique experience here for Jamison Walker. And it's just nice to see him back again anyway. For fifth, here we go. Andrew Kreider, that 70's looking very fast. He's been making passes left and right. He's not going to pass Ashley Blake, though, as Blake got the run off the corner and down the straightaway. And she will maintain that fifth position over the 70 as the top four are still far away from everyone else. Taps looks like he went up the track a bit. That might allow Lopez to close in. But Landry is even pulling ahead of these guys as he has almost a 1 second lead in that 66 car.
Yeah, and if they continue to battle for fifth, that definitely won't help them coming back to the race lead. I don't know why they're doing that. Should probably work together for the moment.
I think Kreider thinks his car is faster than Blake and that he can run down the top four. And we've seen that, again, he's made a lot of passes already, so I wouldn't doubt him if that's the case. But that's the reason why he's trying to get by the 36, also trying to set himself up for some track position.
And I know tire wear is not extreme here, but it's still, you know, a factor. If they continue to be aggressive like that and fight like that, they're also going to ruin their tires. So even if he gets past her, it'll be hard with, you know, more worn out tires to come back to the top four. So I don't especially know how good this is in terms of strategy, but yeah.
Hollenbeck back underneath Sherman. These guys have swapped their positions back and forth several times already. And Hollenbeck will get the spot back by Sherman. That is for the 13th position. Michael Harvin looked underneath. Laurie Jackson's going to get underneath the 36, so this battle between these two is definitely not over yet. Bit of a rivalry battle for sure. Blake will once again get that acceleration off the corner. DuPont's going to go up the track in the 98. That could allow the 55 of Michael Harvin to get back by him. And the 88 of Joe Smith. DuPont's holding serve on the outside for now, but, you know, there's only so long that he can do that for. Kreider did get by the 36, and as you can see, he is gapping the 36, so he is definitely faster than Blake. I definitely think if he can get up to these leaders, he can compete with them. He's a very good driver at some of these short tracks. We mentioned back at Rockingham, before he blew his engine, he was running very well, and he ran well at Rockingham the previous season as well, so North Wilkesboro is similar in some ways to Rockingham, even though Rockingham's a bit closer to Dover than this track, but still.
Interestingly, he's gaining some time on the top 2, 3, 4, but he's losing time to first place. So honestly, it looks like the 66 of Tyler Landry is just incredibly quick.
And Landry
I don't know if there's anybody that can challenge him.
Landry is no stranger to being fast and dominating races. The first race that he was really fast in was Evergreen last year, race number 5. He didn't end up winning that race, and he didn't even lead the most laps, but he was very impressive in that race. Then you go to Watkins Glen. Last year, he led just about every single lap. No, he flat out led every lap in that race, wire to wire from the pole. And then he led most of the laps at Willow Springs early in the race until he had to pit on the final lap. So we've seen Landry get out to these performances before, and not always ending in victory for Tyler Landry. Definitely trying to close this one out, but of course, only lap 32. Things can still happen, and things are happening here for third as Lopez tries to get back by the 16 of Corbin Taps. And this 70's looking very fast. He has actually gained a little bit on the leader.
Yeah, that's interesting. It looks like Landry has slowed down a little bit these past couple of laps. He's
Clark's also closing in a little bit in that 5 car, so that's something to watch. These two still battling side by side.
Clark looks like she's gaining sometime and then losing sometime, they're gaining sometime. It's the gap's stable if you take an average.
Fastest lap of the race is Tyler Landry by 2/1000ths of a second. So we know that 66 is very fast, at least in the short run.
The 88 of Joe Smith, second in the fastest lap. That's interesting. We have not seen him all race long.
Not really. We've gotten glances of him. He's back in 11th. He's just on the outside of the top 10. So he's been there. He just hasn't been really high up. Laurie Jack. Oh, there was an accident. Oh, Darren Walker, the second place car in points, and no caution for it. Is something wrong with his race car? I think he was trying to get into the pits, and now he's going around.
Yes, it's that's a lot of damage. He probably hit that wall there.
And
What
he's going to come in and
there's
pit. Yeah.
what there's that
I guess
safety
he was
cruise
off
sort
the.
of
I guess he
opening.
was off the track, so there was no caution. I really hope I remember to turn the cautions off for cautions on for this race, because then we'd have to redo things. But I think he was off the
Oh
track,
no.
so they didn't call a yellow for it. Anyway, Tyler Landry, 1.4 seconds up on Joanna Clark. And then we got Corbin Taps, who was able to hold on to third place over Lopez, as you see Darren Walker in the pits, and it has been quite the skid for Darren Walker. He had a big points lead early in the season, and he was looking like the flat-out championship favorite, but he's had a lot of issues in the last few races, so definitely it started with the engine failure from the lead at Iowa, and then he got involved in the wreck on lap 2 at Kansas. I don't think he had that great a run at Dover. And now this in North Wilkesboro. We will get a replay of what happened to him at some point, whether it be under a caution or maybe interspersed in some of this action green if we don't get a caution. But we will show what happened to Darren Walker at some point. And Walker is rejoining the pack now. He is 3 laps behind.
And the 70 of Andrew Kreider, honestly, at this pace, looks like he's going to probably, well, at least he's going to be back on. There you go. Well, he caught the one. He could end up in third place before lap 50 at this rate.
Oh, Clark's pitting.
Oh.
That is scheduled. Landry is coming in as well. Oh, the 16 has had a suspension failure, but no damage. So I guess it's just a vibration. Ryan Silva came in a lap early. And Taps is now leading the race. So apparently he has some sort of vibration in the suspension, I'd imagine. That's what we have kind of decided that the damage 0 means.
You gotta be careful about that, to not make it worse.
Yeah, he should be coming in this time, and he is.
And they're
so
all
Taps coming in. The top 3 all come in, and we've got a few other cars staying out for longer. Joe Smith and Tim Berry will fight each other to see who will lead this lap. Joe Smith on the inside looks like he will have it. So a bonus point going the way of Joe Smith. There you see Landry out of the pits and way far ahead of Joanna Clark. Goodness gracious, look at that gap. And a bunch of...
Did he take 2 tires?
I'm not sure. We'll see. Let's look. 65. We want to go ahead of that. Nope, he just had a really fast pit stop.
Oh, that's very, very good. Well,
under 15 seconds there for the 66. Oh, we have another issue. Is the caution is out.
The caution. Oh
no! McCarron and Vinny Schulz and Adrian Wheeler get involved, and Kate Summers runs into her teammate. Caution is out. That was not what brought out the caution. That was some incident on the racing back, but we have a caution in the middle of the pit cycle, and Tim Berry is scored as the leader right now. Oh,
and
let's
that
be
changes
careful. Let's
everything.
Not get into
Oh
each
no,
other
what
on
are
the
they
yellow.
doing?
They're fine. They sorted it out. So we'll have to figure out what on earth happened. They're still trying to figure things out here. This is not a place you want to see a caution in the middle of the pit cycle at, because the waving around can be pretty chaotic. Kind of like what we saw at Iowa. We'll see who the pace car picks up. But it looks like there were 2 separate incidents. One of them happened as they were racing back, but
I think
Vinny
it could have been one car that had an issue and then
Now
Landry one car that did the first wreck and then just continued slowly and got into the second wreck.
Landry is now scored as the leader, and he's coming into pit as well as Joanna Clark. So we got some split strategy here. We have a couple cars heading back into the pits. So we'll see
That-
how that cycles out. It looks like Lopez will cycle out as the leader.
I don't quite understand that strategy, honestly.
And both the Pacific cars will retire from the race. They're going to have a last row sweep. And for a team that has been on the up and up, that is the last thing they wanted to see. There are two cars running into each other.
Oh, the
And
36 had damage.
The 66 is... the 66 might still be scored as the leader after all, despite coming into the pits. I don't know what they're going to do with the 66 car. And it looks like they're going to put him back in the lead. So I guess he just topped off for fuel. Or no, they're not going to put him back in the lead. They're going to cycle him back. I don't think he was supposed to go out there. So possibly a penalty for Tyler Landry.
Yeah, but you don't take penalties under yellows, so...
And they're all
Maybe
trying
just
to get by him. Yeah,
extremely
they're
quick
standing into the
splash
back
of
of the,
fuel.
they're standing into the back of the line. All right.
Oh, yeah, so that's the penalty, I imagine.
Well, we have a lot to look through here on the replay. Two separate accidents to review, and we will get you back with the restart on probably lap number 50 here at North Wilkesboro, our first caution of the day. And it is two separate crashes, and it's going to take out at least two cars from this race. Well, this is the first of several accidents that happened either on or before the first caution. This was before, well before, I think on lap 34. You saw the 8 of Darren Walker get into Cheryl Simmons, causing her to slip up there and save it. But that caused a logjam with the 8, and the 57 turns him into the inside wall. Hard hit on the left side for Darren Walker, also damage on the front end. And that is a tough break for the second place man in points. And he is going to take an extra lap around instead of going into the pits. So he was probably trying to get a caution for it, but he did not get the yellow. As you see the leaders go by there, he would get his yellow later, but it would be too late. And this is going to end his competitiveness, competitive chance of racing. He's going to still be on the racetrack, but it's going to ruin his shot of winning the race, that's for sure.
And here you go, the 8 just gets into the 58 and gets clipped by the 57 of Everett, hits the recovery vehicle opening, and yeah, small accident all things considered, but for the 8 it's catastrophic, basically the end of any chance of having a good finish here. Those things happen, it's a short track, but we didn't get a caution for that. We got one afterwards. So I guess we're going to see the replay for that.
So here's the accident that brought out the first caution. Ashley Blake trying to leave the pits. Charlie McCarron trying to get into the pits. They collide. And McCarron gets spun around in turn number 3. Blake gets some damage by hitting the outside retaining wall. And that brings out the caution. And this kind of directly feeds into the second accident that happened that we saw with the 62 and the 92. As McCarron was off the pace, trying to get back to the line. And there you see the 62 of Scholes rounding turn number 4. McCarron is going to cut down the track right in front of Vinny Scholes. They are both going to go around. Adrian Wheeler is going to have nowhere to go. He runs into the 62 of Scholes, and then Kate Summers comes flying in, tries to get by the 85, almost gets by the 62, but just clips her. And that is going to end the days of both of the Pacific racing cars in this race. After having such a good day at Dover, they're going to have a last row lockout here in today's race, and that is going to also severely affect Charlie McCarron's race, as well as the 36 of Ashley Blake. So multiple cars involved in that, and several of them are going to be wounded for the rest of the race, if not out entirely.
And normal pit cycle chicanery, small incident, very benign. Would have still brought out the caution because the car spun onto the track, but then the worst wreck avoidance, like basically the entire season here. You see here Vinny Schultz decides that the 85 does not exist, and then more cars get involved in this. So yeah, reared out of the accident, but it's just pitch cycle shenanigans. Those things happen.
Welcome back here at North Wilkesboro. The pace car is pulling off. We're getting ready for our restart here. Only 2 cars retired from the race, and it was the 2 Pacific Racing cars that ran into each other off of 4. Jacob Lopez is now the leader. We've got a few lap cars down there on the inside. Corbin Taps, Andrew Kreider, Joe Smith, and Jamison Walker will lead them as the top 5. Green flags in the air, and already Zach Dearman's putting him 3 wide. They're 3 wide behind now, and McCarran looks like she is off the pace. So it is possible that McCarran was the initial cause of the caution when we were talking about this under the break. Oh, here comes Corbin Taps going for the lead in the number 16 car. Oh, he's going to go up the racetrack along with Lopez, and Lopez will maintain the lead. We were talking about how possibly McCarran was involved in whatever happened in turn 3, and then ended up getting run into off of turn 4. That car looks very off the pace, despite not seeing that much damage, so maybe the damage is internal there for the 85 car. So it has been a rough day for the full-time Walker Brothers racing cars that are competing for the championship, 2nd and 4th. Oh, George Bryan looks like he came into the pits. He is rejoining the pack now. And he's getting into Joe Smith a little bit. Be careful. Do not wreck somebody as a lap car. But they are really stacked up here, deep in the field, right in the middle of the soup. And that is dangerous for sure. 26 cars are on the lead lap right now, so still most of the field on the lead lap. That is good to see. So after all of that, the pit cycle caution did not cause that much wave around shenanigans, which is definitely something you want to see. Joanna Clark, is she having a problem? She's a lap down. She had to come back into the pits, it looks like, for whatever reason. So that is going to ruin Joanna Clark's good day, for sure.
Well, the 66 got penalized. I think got penalized after coming into the pits. I think the 5 might have as well been penalized.
He has right side damage now. So he got into somebody on this restart, and he and McCarran, that was close. He almost got hooked into turn number 2. So he has not been able to get through this field very good. He is on the lead lap. He's in 21st.
And at this point, the favorite is probably Andrew Kreider, who's basically, I think, the only one of these really top 5 or so drivers that had that didn't get ruined.
Well, no, the 1 and 16 are still up here, and they were running 3rd and 4th, so they're, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All those cars that pitted later definitely benefited from that in the end. And Joanna Clark seemed like she was pretty off the pace for a little bit, but she's back up to speed, so probably some issues going on with that 5 car, maybe some internal issues on the 5 car, kind of like what we see with the 85, but I think the 5 came in and pitted again under the green. And we can confirm that by looking at the logs.
Get caught by
the 85 just blew an engine.
Oh.
And evidently there was definitely something sickly wrong with that 85 car, and she is gonna stop on the racetrack. That's probably gonna be a yellow. And there it is. There's a caution.
And that's going to be a savior for Joanna Clark, who was almost going to be 2 laps down. She managed to escape.
Free pass will be going to Zach Dearman, so that was a good caution for him. And let's see what they do here on this pit cycle. And it looks like most of them, if not all of them, are going to come in and pit this time by on lap number 59. All the lead lap cars coming in now, so interesting here. There were a couple of cars that came in and pitted a second time under green, and now they're all coming in here at the same time. And we have some cars with damage that will lose some positions by fixing it, like the 55 of Michael Harvin and Landry, as we pointed out earlier. There he is. So definitely some shuffling in the running order going to happen here due to this caution. Kreider, you see him going out. There's Lopez. And it looks like Kreider's going to move into second. He's going to jump ahead of Corbin Taps. Jamison Walker is going to move into fourth. And Michael Harvin looks like he'll come out in fifth.
They were already into fourth.
And those are the lapped cars coming in and pitting there. And after they make their pit stops, the 18 will get his wave around. So, second caution of the day here. Not much of a replay probably for what happened, but we will show one anyway. As the 85 of Charlie McCarron blows up the fourth place driver in points, and that will inevitably take her out of the race with a header issue on that 85 car. So we will get you back with the restart here very soon here at North Wilkesboro. Charlie McCarron already having a bad race, and this one is going to end her race as her engine blows up just past pit entry, the worst possible spot to blow your engine. And she's going to bring out the second caution of the race. And so both of the first two cautions were caused by the 85 car, although McCarron couldn't have done anything about that one. The car just gave up on her. And so not a good day for the fourth place driver in points. Not a good day for Walker Brothers Racing in terms of their full-time cars up to this point. First Darren Walker has his incident, and now Charlie McCarron's been involved in a couple of incidents here today. Welcome back here at North Wilkesboro. 27 cars now on the lead lap. After the 18 takes his wave around, we still have a few cars off the lead lap who will line up on the inside. Jacob Lopez is still your leader. Andrew Kreider's second, and then it's Corbin Taps, Jamison Walker, and the 55 of Michael Harvin running inside the top 5. We've got about 50 laps to go here, just past halfway in this race. The pace car will pull off the track. Charlie McCarron obviously is out of the race now with a header issue, and Lopez will lead them back to green here on lap number 63, and the 28 of Adrian Wheeler is not going on the restart, and that's going to cause a 3-wide situation here. Oh, this is going to get hairy.
3 wide also at the front.
That's for the lead. The 70 underneath the 1. They're going to go up the racetrack. Oh boy, Kreider's going to take the lead off of that, but there's a bunch of lap cars on the inside, and Jamison Walker, who's on the lead lap. Wouldn't it be something if he managed to get the lead here? Kreider's up the racetrack. Lopez is right next to him. And we have some crazy action going on here. Oh, the 7 is slow. There's something wrong with Lori Jackson. She has a tire down, but it looks like she's going to make it to the pits and not cause any problems for these leaders. Joanna Clark not on the lead lap, going to go underneath the 70. Jamison Walker is up to second place. What an impressive run he has had here today.
And Lopez is in trouble on that outside lane. He's losing positions after positions.
Yeah, he was the leader on that restart, and he got passed by the 70 in a 3-wide situation, and that has really hurt his chances. Oh, the 88 slides up into him. But they don't collide and cause an accident. So that was, oh boy, Joe Smith, he's getting aggressive. He is shoving it down there on the bottom lane. And it looks like Jacob Lopez is going to fall outside the top 5. Here comes Cheryl Simmons out of nowhere in the 58 car. We mentioned multiple times before, this car has not seen a top 10 in over 30 races, and Cheryl Simmons is trying to drag this thing into the top 10. She started in last. What a run for the 58 car. All the meanwhile, Andrew Kreider has a buffer between himself and Jamison Walker.
I think the 01 of George. I think the 01 of George Bryan is keeping Kreider, relatively close to these guys, because
Walker's going to try and shove Joanna Clark out of the way. He wants to dispose of the lap car so he can go after the 70. And do we have a caution? We have a caution. We have a crash in turn 1, and it's Rebecca Raymond. And Darren Walker with even more damage in the 8 car, and that will probably be the end of his day. Lakin Herndon was also involved. Karina Willis-Calloway might have been involved as well. She's coming into the pits. And JB Chanot has some front-end damage as well. So this was a multi-car accident in turn number 1. And Rebecca Raymond seems to have gotten the worst of it. And that is great news for George Bryan and Joanna Clark, as both of them will be getting their laps back. Clark will be taking the free pass, and Brian was ahead of the leader on the tail end of the lead lap when the caution came out. He got his lap back the old-fashioned way. Pit stops here, and 81 just ran into the 55 in the pits for no reason.
And it's going to be close on fuel.
Jamison Walker is going to get out with the lead on the pits. He jumped Andrew Kreider. Simmons is now third, Taps is fourth, and Smith is fifth. Jamison Walker, in his return after a year and a half, is going to lead a lap here at North Wilkesboro. If he doesn't come back into the pits for some reason, and he won't. How about this? What a story this is. We'll leave it on this for a little bit because this is incredible. Jamison Walker started in 25th. We went over his story in the pre-race, and he's going to lead a lap here at North Wilkesboro. He's going to lead them to the restart.
And it's mostly on pace.
Yeah. He got lucky a bit with the cycle to get up in the top 5 in the first place, but he's been pretty fast today. So this is definitely no fluke here. Jamison Walker, what a run this has been. Well, this is the third caution of the race for a multi-car accident in turn number 1. We will get you back with the restart after showing the replay of what happened. Well, this wreck wasn't Rebecca Raymond's fault, shockingly. She got turned by Lakin Herndon off of turn 4. And comes back up the track in front of JT Boyd. Karina Willis-Callaway gets a piece. Darren Walker's day goes from bad to worse as he gets involved. Good wreck avoidance there by the 79 and the 18. Holly Martin gets a piece of it. JB Chanot gets a piece of it. Tyler Landry might have gotten a piece of it as well. I'm not sure if that damage was from earlier or from the wreck, but several cars involved in that. That is at least going to take Rebecca Raymond out of the race and potentially take some more drivers out of the race as well. Darren Walker's probably done for the day. Lakin Herndon might be done for the day. And there you see Karina Willis-Callaway going into the pits as well as GT Boyd. So several cars involved in that incident that started in turn 4 and ended in turn 1.
3 wide. Sometimes does not work here. It definitely did not work here. Out of 4, 39 gets into the 45, and they just keep wrecking after that. So yeah, just a small pile-up. That's gonna be our third caution of the day here. And the 45 got a beating out of here. So for once, it wasn't her fault. So hey.
Welcome back here at North Wilkesboro. We've got 24 cars on the lead lap. Joanna Clark would have made it 25, but she had a brake failure under caution as we were about to wave her around. So she's going to be having an extended stay in the pits, and the bad luck for the 5 car continues. But Jamison Walker, in his first race back in a year and a half, is going to lead them to the green here at North Wilkesboro. Andrew Kreider in second, Cheryl Simmons third, Corbin Taps, Joe Smith your top 5. A top 5 full of incredible stories. And we are back under green here at North Wilkesboro. And Karina Willis-Callaway, as I suspected, was probably involved in that accident, and she is not very fast in that 41 car. And Walker's going to come in and pit. Oh no! Something goes awry with the 86. He might have had a restart violation. I'm not sure. But that's a heartbreaker for Jamison Walker. But here comes Cheryl Simmons. She's going to take the lead. She's going to muscle it away from the 70 of Andrew Kreider. And Simmons in the 58. One Honda leaves the lead and another one enters it. And Cheryl Simmons is now in front. Kreider trying to cross her back over and try and take the lead back. And that 86 is getting held. He had a penalty of some sort. Heartbreaker for Jamison Walker.
Yeah, and I mean, he had a very fast pit stop, so it might have been... He might have not taken fuel. I don't know. This is weird.
That's an extended stay for the 86. That's almost certainly some form of penalty. So, some sort of restart violation on the 86. Not sure what it could have been, considering he was the leader, but... I don't know. With Cheryl Simmons now in front in the number 58 car.
He may have gotten a he may have gotten a penalty before the caution and had to serve it now.
That is possible. Billy Smith up into the top 5 in that 08 car, backing up the strong run at COTA, the 3rd place, and the win, obviously, at Daytona with another top 5 run here in the 08. He has been outstanding in his limited starts this season. The 86 is still in the pits. Now I'm not sure what it is, because there's no way they'd be holding him for that long.
I think they let it go now.
Oh, he had a fuel leak.
Oh.
He had a fuel leak under caution, and he didn't pit until the green flag. Well, that explains it. So he had a mechanical failure from the lead. And that is, I believe, the 3rd mechanical failure for the Walker Brothers racing cars today. It has been a disaster of a race for that team. Here comes Joe Smith up to 4th, trying to look under Corbin Taps for 3rd, but man, what drama here late in the race.
And they pitted with basically 40 laps to go, so I don't know if they can make it to the end or not.
Lap 72 of 112 right on the fuel window, so if this goes green, we might be looking at fuel mileage as well to throw a wrench into this. Oh my goodness, this race has just been crazy, that's for sure. And full of
But to be fair,
heartbreak.
they ran a couple of laps under caution after coming in, so it might have helped.
It'll be close. They'll be right on the window. I think they pitted like right at lap 72 or 73 or something, and the fuel window's about 40 laps, so they'll be right on the edge of it. But Cheryl Simmons leading here today in the number 58, trying to get Diamond Motorsports their 2nd win of the year and trying to get this car its first top 10 in over 30 races. They've had Zach Dearman driving it for most of the time last year. This year they had Ryan Silva in it for most of the races. Ashley Blake ran a couple races last year, and the 5 is back out on the track in 29th place. She is 1 lap behind. And Jamison Walker has spent 9 laps in the pits trying to get that fuel system failure fixed. He might not rejoin the racetrack.
And Clark might be an issue for these leaders.
She's not terribly off the pace, which is surprising considering that's a brake failure usually causes them to be significantly off pace, but I guess they've gotten whatever issue it was fixed. Joe Smith's up to 3rd. He passed the 16 of Corbin Taps. Taps trying to look back underneath him for that position. And Kreider's going to lose some time there to Cheryl Simmons, who is now pulling away in the number 58. Trying to complete the last to first challenge, which I don't think has ever been done in the Lumen Stock Car Invitational. And of all the tracks to do it at, I would not have expected North Wilkesboro to be the one. If she can keep it going. She's got 24 laps to go this time by.
And of all the cars to do it, the 58.
Yeah. Kreider trying to close back in on the 58. We know this 70 car is very fast, so he's definitely one to be reckoned with. Both these drivers looking for their first career wins, and Kreider's reeling in Simmons very quickly. He's practically on the bumper already. Look at all the time he gained. Oh, Simmons is up the racetrack. This might be Kreider's opportunity if he can get a good exit. Carry that momentum down the straightaway, but he wasn't able to take advantage of it just yet. Joe Smith closing in on both of them. So we've got a 3-car, potentially 4 cars if Corbin Taps can get up in this battle. Race for the win here late at North Wilkesboro. But of course, we gotta wonder, is fuel gonna be a problem? Will they have enough to make it to the end?
There are still 20 laps to go. I think maybe the top 7 could maybe come in. Or no, there are slapped cars in that, so I think it's top 6. Well, they're relatively close, so they could come back.
Joe Smith going for 2nd on the 70 of Andrew Kreider. Joe Smith has not won since season 1. He did not get the lead on Andrew Kreider. He won 3 times in season 1 in this paint scheme too. Winless in season 2, so far winless in season 3, but it has been a pretty good season for Joe Smith. We'll see if he can break that winless drought. Corbin Taps, another driver looking for his first career win, running in 4th. He had a gash in the right side of the car, so he might be a little bit slower than these 3. because of that. But still having a good run here today in Corbin Taps. He's been top 5 all race long. He's definitely had a very strong car in this race.
And if he wouldn't have the damage, I think he could have maybe possibly go for the lead there, but I think that damage doesn't help him.
Kreider up the racetrack, and he's going to get back in line before Joe Smith has an opportunity to do anything. But they're all behind Cheryl Simmons in the 58. And if you've been paying attention to Cheryl Simmons over the past couple seasons, as her time as a part-time driver, there has not been very many people in the field that could get the most of their equipment as much as Cheryl Simmons has been able to, no matter what car she's been driving. She has gotten the absolute best out of it, and this is what's given her this opportunity for Diamond Motorsports. Just her absolute ability. She could get thrown into any race car and still give it as good a run as it could possibly get. So Simmons definitely showing that here today. And you know, she's had some pace in this 58 already. She had a solid run going at Dover, but not the right pit strategy, and she ended up falling out of the top 10. Trying to get redemption here today. It has been a tumultuous career for Cheryl Simmons. And this win could be huge for her. As we approach 17 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro, she's starting to gap 2nd through 4th.
Yeah, and that's a pattern that we've seen with every leader today. The first place car just seems to be able to pull away from the rest of the pack, and not as much for the 58 as we've seen previously. But yes, it's a pattern, so it seems like it's very hard to go and take that lead without some kind of engine failure or pit stop or something like that.
And we have seen passive for the lead under green before. Remember, off the start of the race, Tyler Landry got by Joanna Clark after about 12 laps. So it is possible to run down the leader. And I think if anybody can run down this 58, it would be the 70 of Andrew Kreider. He's shown to have a lot of speed in this race. Joe Smith's also shown to be very fast. So these two could definitely run down Simmons. But Simmons definitely taking advantage of that clean air here. And she's sitting pretty up there right now. But she cannot get too comfortable up there. Oh, especially if she's doing stuff like that, going way up the track. That'll allow the 70 to reel her in a little bit. She cannot be slipping up like that. Too many of those, and the 70 will be underneath her. And Kreider has definitely gotten a lot closer. We are running out of laps here, though.
At this point, looks like it could be the top 3, possibly top 4, but otherwise I don't think anybody else can come back, except if there's a very late caution, but we're starting to run out of laps for that caution to arrive.
Kreider up the racetrack. Has to slip up there for the 70 car, but we'll have to see. 41 is off the pace. We'll have to see if they can make it on fuel. They're still right on the edge in terms of fuel.
And hey, even without fuel, the tire seems like they're starting to die a lot right now.
Definitely.
Not too bad, but they're starting to...
about half a second of tire fall off from the leader. Oh, Jacob Lopez in the 1 car, almost called him Joe Smith. He tried to muscle Ryan Silva out of the way. He's in 5th right now. He's got 2 lap cars between himself and 4th place, so he's got quite the challenge if he wants to gain any more spots in that 1 car. Cooper Spur in the 24. He's just shown up in the top 10 again. There's a lot of races where he just kind of shows up at the end and manages to get a good result. But you know, it's been a struggle for him this season. He's DNQ'd a lot of races. So it's good to see him up there once again. Hudson Motorsports having a good run as both of their cars are in the top 10. 9th and 10th, LaTanya Gray and Zach Dearman. And Kevin DuPont, despite the terrible race for Walker Brothers Racing, still holding the fort down just outside the top 10. Back up front, the 41 is definitely off the pace. Possibly lap cars getting in the way here, but Callaway does pull out of the way of the 58 car as best she can. And there's still a couple more lap cars ahead. Not sure how much of a factor they'll play. Oh, she's getting in the way of Andrew Kreider. That is big for the 70. I'm sure Kreider's not happy about Karina Willis Callaway for that. He will get
And
past her on the backstretch, but that's a rough
that's
break
gonna
for the 70.
pull Joe Smith in for possibly a battle for second place if he manages to overtake well. The lapped car doesn't seem like that, but he's closer now.
He lost 3/10 because of that. But there's still more lap cars in the way, including the 28. And they're going side by side as lap cars in front of Cheryl Simmons.
And
4
if they
laps to go this time by for the 58 car of Cheryl Simmons.
And
If she can-
if Joanna Clark manages to lose enough time to block the 58, that could be major too, because Joanna Clark will not be an easy car to overtake, unlike those other very slow lap cars.
Well, the 77 and 28 might end up going side by side, and if that happens, that could create some big problems there for Cheryl Simmons. Here we go, 3 laps to go. She is getting held up by the 28. She's going really slow off of turn 2. She's not pitting, is she? No, she's not. Oh boy. The lap car is definitely getting in the way there, but they're battling for second behind. Joe Smith sees an opportunity. They're both closing in on Simmons. We've got 2 laps to go. Joe Smith trying to go for second. Will he have enough time to try and get by the 58 for the lead? Will they have enough fuel to make it? The 58's going to get under the lap cars, but Smith is there. Boyd's still in the way for the 58, but she's going to take the white flag. 1 lap to go for Cheryl Simmons. She's going to get underneath Boyd, and I think if she can get past this, she's home free. Side by side with the 77, Smith right on the bumper. Will he try anything in turns 3 and 4? He's going to try it. Simmons is going to slip up the track a bit. Smith trying to get on the accelerator. He's going to try and peek to the inside. They're side by side coming to the line, but Simmons will hold on, and she's going to win her first career race, and she does it for Diamond Motorsports at North Wilkesboro. Despite a hard-charging Joe Smith right there at the end, he almost got there.
And victory lap for her, but wow, this was extremely close. Joe Smith, pushed at the end, but if one of those lap cars weren't there, I think Joe Smith could have won this race. This is very this whole race has been extremely crazy today.
Absolutely.
Very fun.
The lap cars definitely got in the way there, but it did not change the outcome of the race. It just made it a lot more nail-biting. And Cheryl Simmons is going to victory lane here at North Wilkesboro. And that is an incredible that is an incredible win for Cheryl Simmons. She absolutely deserves it. What a way to break the top 10 list streak for the second Diamond car. Flat out winning the race here. 22 cars finish on the lead lap, the last of which being Shauna Everett. Several cars finishing off the lead lap. Jameson Walker finishes 37 laps down. He never recovered from that fuel system failure. That is a heartbreaker for the 86 because
he didn't come out again, I think.
He did not come
I think
back
that's
out.
what happened.
He stayed in the pits for the rest. So in the official results sheet, he'll be listed as a DNF. But we had 6 cars failed to finish, including the 86. Bad race, of course, for Walker Brothers Racing and Pacific Racing, both of them having nightmares of a day today. And not a great day for NH Motorsports either. One of their cars, Oscar Duvall, didn't even make the race, and JT Boyd evidently got involved in some sort of accident, and he finishes back in 27th. But a dramatic end to the race there, even though the lead didn't end up changing hands. From the 58, Joe Smith, he gave it all he had there at the end. He saw an opportunity. He saw the 58 was getting into the lap traffic, made a move on Andrew Kreider, and almost made the move on Cheryl Simmons, but he ran out of time. If he had one more lap, that probably would have been his race. But how about this? Cooper Spur sneaking into the top 5. Simmons, Smith, Kreider taps the top 4, but Cooper Spur just once again just sneaking up there in the top 5. He just shows up there. Tim Berry, the points leader, probably going to extend his points lead. He finishes in 6th. Montana Sherman 7th. Lopez slipped back to 8th there at the end. LaTanya Gray finishes 9th, and Kevin DuPont salvages something for the Walker Brothers camp as he finishes in the 10th position. Well, Ladovic, Go ahead and give us your thoughts on this race and potentially a preview for next week's race at the Pocono Raceway, which will be the first time that the Cup Series goes to Pocono.
Well, this race, this race was something. We had basically a little bit of everything. We had strategy, we had a bit of chaos, we had good battles. In the end, we had a winner that definitely was deserving. She did it last to first. That's incredible. We get tight battles in the end. Yeah, that's basically all you can ask from a race. So, and very good race. We almost got a fuel mileage. I don't know how they avoided that, but they somehow did. And next race at Pocono, Pocono's one of those racetracks where there can definitely be either chaos or a very straightforward race, let's say, where more strategic race. So it'll depend on what kind of eye you have for Pocono, but it's usually either chaos or very very sort of strategic, not a lot of overtaking race.
And we definitely get a lot of overtaking at my Pocono. We had a test race once where there were 18 lead changes in 40 laps. So Pocono can
Oh god.
definitely cook, that's for sure. But this race, again, I am surprised that the fuel mileage didn't end up playing a factor. I think the only car I saw come into the pits late there was the 39 of Lake and Herndon. I think he was the only one that didn't make it on fuel, but everyone else did. So they all did a great job of saving fuel. Crew chiefs did a good job in this race, and the crews did a good job getting all the fuel in. So fuel mileage didn't end up playing a factor, but a lot of other things did, and it definitely spiced up the ending of this race. North Wilkesboro, we've run 3 races here, and none of them have been boring, that's for sure. North Wilkesboro has impressed every time that we've gone here. And that's it for today's race. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And of course, next week we'll be going to the Pocono Raceway, like mentioned before. Congratulations to Cheryl Simmons and Diamond Motorsports on the win here at North Wilkesboro. This is the team's second win at North Wilkesboro. They won the Season 1 race here with Jack Gino, so it's their second win here. So they definitely are a big fan of this place, and we are too. And on behalf of Ladovic and myself, this is Brendan Wilmington signing out for the Left Turn Network.